My name is Kenny Galloway from Sales Haven. Sales is a key part of your business. In this video, we're going to discuss sales fear, prospecting, and sales mental health. Watch this video to find out more.
Welcome to Profile 3 TV, and today we're joined by Kenny Galloway from Sales Haven. So Kenny, thank you very much for coming in.
No
Really
problem.
appreciate it. So we've been chasing you for a little while, so we're delighted to get you in
Yep.
eventually.
Finally.
Well, a chat we're looking forward to. So you wouldn't mind telling people a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yep, of course. So I am founder of Sales Haven, which is a fairly new consultancy agency that's focused on sales in the sales industry. Sales Haven has three spokes to it essentially. It's sales training, sales consulting, and sales keynote speaking. I like to call it motivational speaking. Within the training, it's very specialised. It can be quite broad in terms of the whole sales process. Where my skills and skill set lies is in the prospecting and the opening doors. Basically taking order takers from order takers to hunters, opening those doors and getting their business in through the door, getting the meeting. Then I have other people that I can tap into who can come in and polish the training up with the likes of closing training and training about meetings and things like that there. Also other people who may be involved with that can focus on mindset as well. As a salesperson, the mindset is everything for a salesperson really. If you haven't quite got that pinned down, salespeople do struggle. So that's the sort of training side. Then we have the consultant side where it's mainly focused on building new sales teams. And going in and reviewing sales processes to basically review and see where the sales process is and how it can be improved, how it can be a bit more agile, a bit more lean to get results. Quite often, more often than not, you find people who are actually in the business, who are decision makers, call all the shots, get involved in different parts of the business when they shouldn't actually be in that part of the process. And then we've got the motivational speaking. I've been through a lot. I've been in sales for about 10 years myself. So I like to get out there and tell my story, and I've had the ups, the downs. I've came up from the bottom, I've been up to the top, down to the bottom again. I've did the whole lot. So I really like to get out there and give people the motivation, give them the right mindset to say, okay, I can sell, I am good, I am great. And that's just a bit of a passion of mine. I love helping people.
Amazing.
So
Excellent.
that's Sales Haven in a nutshell.
Excellent. And actually, so obviously ourselves as a content marketing agency, we building websites.
Yeah.
All you have to do now today is throw up a website and it'll do all the selling for you, so you can just hide behind it.
Pretty much, yeah.
If only that was.
Pretty much. That's
Only that was true.
Yeah, that's what people think. Yeah.
So I guess and we deal with a lot of clients who come in, and I guess one of the things, and that's why I was so excited to talk to you today, is that they would come in and they want the site built, and we build it, and they want content and marketing, and we do all the good things.
Yeah.
And we can do the ads and whatever anyone needs, that's fine. The challenge is that I think some people still think that in putting the site up, that it is going to solve the problem of sales. That people forget that sometimes you do need to do some actual hardcore selling, that you need to press the flesh and meet people. And actually, ironically, this is a perfect example of it. So
100%.
we have a very popular website, amazing social media, oh my word, traffic coming out of your ears, yet still today we value the face-to-face meeting, and the sales process is
100%.
critical in everything we do. So
what you've touched on there is, so you actually have reactive and proactive. Okay, so what you do is a reactive solution. It's great. It creates an online presence and it puts people out into the domain that otherwise probably wouldn't be noticed. And that's reactive. So people see it, they click okay, and the salesperson of the business has to react to that click. Whereas if you're a salesperson and you have a sales force, you are proactive. So those people should not be sitting behind a desk unless they're in telesales. Even if they are doing telesales, they're proactively picking that phone up and phoning customers, new customers, or they're out banging the doors, meeting new customers. That's proactivity. So you've got two sort of spokes to it. Reactive is you get an inbound click, react to that click, get the sale, close the deal, it's a warm lead. Then you have the proactivity, which is the outbound click as such from the sales staff, and that's where really the key sales function comes into play.
Excellent. And actually to have the personality to be any of those people, it's a specific personality, because It doesn't suit sales, doesn't suit everyone. Like, I'm the worst salesperson in the world. I hate sales. But at the end of the day, no matter what, everyone's selling. Everyone is selling.
Yeah.
You're selling yourself every day, no matter what, if you like it
Yeah.
or not. Everyone is selling something.
There's a book, in fact, glad you mentioned that. There's a book called To Sell is Human, and it's by a guy called David Pink.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's called David. His name's David Pink, and what you've just touched on there is very important. So whether you are behind the camera, whether you are on the customer service, whether you're marketing, whether you're in tech support, whether you're a developer, whatever it may be, even if you're more often than not, if you own the business, you are a salesperson, because you're out there. You are the brand of that business. So you're selling every day. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a developer for Profile Tree or whatever. Okay, what do they do? And all of a sudden, you're in the conversation that could lead to a sale, or that person might take that information and go and speak to somebody else. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because everybody is a salesperson, and I believe that sales should be taught to everybody, even into the schools. You know, we have a lot of graduates coming out of schools, and I've worked with a few of them over my time, and more often than not, they don't really have the sales skills. They have the knowledge and the theory, and they have everything else behind them, but they don't actually have the sales skills or the social skills, or sometimes the soft skills to go out there and meet a customer. Again, you touched on mindset. Mindset is a really big thing with sales. Um, Believe it or not, the sales industry has one of the highest mental health issues. It's up there with the likes of the medical industry and other people. So sales is a really tough job mentally, and you have to be really resilient for it. In terms of the sales industry itself and how people cope with that, they usually put a wall and a barrier up, and they become quite defensive, and they become emotionally detached from themselves. But you've got to actually be one with your feelings, okay? Understand, okay, I'm maybe not in a good place, or I do need help. And that's how you kind of build your mental resilience up. For me, how did I become so resilient and persistent? I actually started in sales about 10 years ago in call centres. So I started working with the likes of BT, Concentrix, HCL, which LBM. I did the whole call centre circuit for quite a while. And that was because I wanted to get experience in making phone calls. And what actually happened, unbeknown to me, was I became quite resilient to rejection and no's. You know, in terms of that there, that really built me up into the persistent, determined salesperson that I am today. And that kind of goes into every part of my life as well. You know, I've been knocked down to the bottom of the peg before. I lost everything at one stage, but yet I'm sitting here today. And the reason for that is because I've got such determination and such persistence, and I put that down to the fact that I started off in the call centre circuit, and I've been in sales for the amount of time that I have. If I probably hadn't been in this industry, God knows where I could have been.
Yes, and excellent. And what a schooling as well, like, and the names that you've mentioned there, and we all, like, again, I fully appreciate, because in running your own business, you get an introduction to sales whether you like it or not, because if you're not selling, you're in trouble.
You're not making money.
And my appreciation for the job role is amazing. So wow, and your resilience, you actually attribute then your journey to picking up your strength and gaining the experiences is brought you back to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the experiences, basically what I went through in terms of the sales industry, and being knocked down, you know, and being told no, you can't get business from me. Or, I mean, the very first sales job that I ever did personally was working for a charity, knocking doors in Carrickfergus. And at one stage, I think I was being chased up an alleyway, and I was going to be robbed. Needless to say, that lasted 2 weeks, that job, and I was like, no, this is for me. So then I went into the call centre circuit and constantly got the nose, got the nose, got the nose. But it was sort of the law of averages. For every no I got, I knew I was closer to getting a sale. For every no, 100 no's or something, I was worked in some equation. For every no, one no that I got closer to a sale. And that sort of subconsciously built a sense of determination and persistence in me. And then moving on up from the call centres, working for a variety of different companies, been heavily involved in the rollout of iPads into the schools in Northern Ireland. At one stage, Northern Ireland had the highest density of iPads in Europe. We jumped on that bandwagon quite well, and our education system, as much as the budgets and stuff aren't there, we've got a really good education system, and a lot of the kids are benefiting from that. Moving on up from that there and dealing with a whole host of different decision makers, you know, and exposing myself and saying, put my hand up saying, I do want to go and do public speaking. I do want to go out and meet that customer. I do want to chase the biggest account that I can possibly chase. That has helped me become the resilient, determined person that I am. So I guess what the point I'm trying to make is experience is everything. There's a lot of people out there and they just kind of dawdle along and it almost seems as if they're just happy doing what they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that there. They've maybe got a bit of fog. Whereas if they went out there and maybe pushed themselves with a little bit of experience and put themselves forward a little bit more sometimes and said just do a few more things, they might find that they might get more experience and they might become a better person because of that experience. For me, that's what's happened in my journey. Obviously, for me, the fact of losing everything as well. I was in a very sticky predicament about a year and a half ago.
And you mentioned the 100 no's, so
Yeah.
is there any tips or advice you give people to overcome the fear of no? Because it's obviously rejections of, we're human, like we don't
Yeah.
like to be told no.
Yeah, so one of the biggest killers in sales is the fear of sales itself, the fear of selling itself. That and maybe a lack of coaching and training from a business can also fail a salesperson. But a salesperson should not have a fear of picking the phone up and calling the customer. I am under the impression that the phone is still one of the best ways to make contact with your customer. In terms of it's much more personal. You can have a conversation with them. You can talk to them about particular projects. If you think, I think I had actually read a statistic quite recently from Salesforce, the large CRM system, that 92% of customer interaction is done by the phone. So 92% of customer interaction is still done by the phone, but yet there's people out there saying we should be social selling. So in terms of the sales fear itself, the biggest fear is either picking the phone up and going out, or picking the phone up and speaking to the customer, or going out to a meeting and actually, having a conversation with someone. Salespeople are really, really, really good at finding information on their decision makers or the company they're looking at, and they're really, really good at sending proposals, but they're not really, really good at prospecting and closing. So I've sort of found this out by looking at a few different things and speaking with a few different people, and looking at my own skill set when I first started. I was going, what was I not good at? What was I bad at? If I've been in other industries and other businesses, what have they not been good at? What have they? So what I've identified is they're not good at prospecting, not good at closing. Why? Well, number one, they're afraid to pick the phone up and get in touch with the customer. Number two, they're afraid to go out and ask for the business. So that's a fear. So in terms of how do you get rid of that fear, for me personally, one of the ways that I did it, one of the methods that I would train people or ask people to do is, number one, write out the fear. Okay, so analyze yourself. As a salesperson, you have to be analytical. If you're not analytical, then get analytical, because you're going to fail. So you have to analyze yourself at every, okay, did I speak to the customer in the right way? Did I, ask the right question? Did I get the right information? So for me to overcome the fear of picking the phone up, I write down the fear. So the fear is, I'm afraid to pick the phone up and call the customer. Then what you do is you write 3 bad things that can happen. So what's the 3 bad things that could happen from me picking that phone up and speaking to the customer? The customer's going to tell me no, they don't answer, I speak to the gatekeeper. Okay? Then you write out 3 good things that's going to happen. Okay, I get through the gatekeeper and I speak to the decision maker. The decision maker asks me for a meeting. The decision maker says he wants to buy off me. Instantly what happens is you overcome your fear because you see the good in what you're doing. The other thing is, and it's a fear, but it's more of a belief and a value in the product that you're selling. If salespeople don't believe in the product that they're selling, that can tie into a fear of picking the phone up to speak to a customer, because they don't believe in the product. And if they don't believe in the product, they believe that the customer doesn't want the product. So that can actually lead to more fear. So, it kind of boils down to as well, you have to employ people who believe in your product or who genuinely love selling. They genuinely those are the wee bits of gold dust that you find in the mud. These people that love selling and they don't care what product they sell, they love the buzz of getting a sale. Those are good salespeople. Those who are, appreciate the value of your product that you're selling, those are great salespeople. I'm one of those people, for me. I was in sales. I've been in sales 10 years. 7 years of my sales career, I hated sales. I actually trained as a barber to get out of sales. So I went on a night course for a whole year, and trained as a barber. Left sales, went and worked in a well known barbers in Lisburn. Um, Quickly found out that I couldn't cut a hedge. Boys were coming in to me, it would take me about an hour to cut their hair. And so me and the owner had a conversation. I went, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave here. So I left and went, right, why did I leave sales in the first place? So I analysed that, and I quickly realised that I was more focused on money. I was more focused on bringing money in for the business, bringing in money in for any business that I was working for, which is great. It's a good attribute to have. But personally, was it motivating me? Was it making me feel like I was having job satisfaction, like I was meant to be in this industry? No, it wasn't. So what I analysed and looked at myself in the mirror, and I went, why are you doing this? Why are you in sales? And what the reflection said back to me was, well, you like helping people. You're good at that. You have a passion for making people happy. So find a sales job where you're helping people. So that's ended up what happened. That's how I got into the education sector. I was passionate about education. I was passionate about technology. So fortunately, I combined that. I worked for a company called Academia. Sold Apple products. Was holding Apple events. Was meeting the big wigs from Apple. It was great. And then the education market slumped. So I had to get out of that. Then I moved obviously on to the sort of health industry. Again, saving lives, helping people live healthier for longer. That's great. It's still something I'm involved in. That's me helping people. So if I get job satisfaction out, I feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile, 110%. Am I comfortable with going to a business and asking them for money? Yes. Why? Because I'm going to help people live healthier for longer in that instance. So, the fear itself can manifest itself in so many ways. But it's actually identifying, okay, number one, what is the fear? Number two, is this actually what I want to be doing? Number three, how can I overcome this? What's the good in this? So there's lots of different ways to identify fear, but the main thing is writing it down, the three bad points about it, the three good points about it. Then the other side is the action from that. Go out and do it. Go out and expose yourself as much as you can to that particular fear to get rid of it, because that's the only way it's going to happen. Otherwise, it's going to fester, the business is going to suffer, you're going to suffer because you're going to be depressed. You're going to feel, I'm not doing a good job, my targets aren't where they are, this customer, I feel like I'm annoying this customer. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's really basics. So you can see how important mindset is, and that's all it is. Fear is a mindset, and if you can overcome that fear, your mindset is in a better place.
Amazing. And you mentioned that people who are good at sales, gold dust. Mm-hmm. Is it finding people like this, or people develop?
Yeah. So you can't find them. If you're going through an interview process, you can't find them. Generally, people who read books about sales, generally people who read books about self-improvement, they're all good indicators that this person wants to learn and grow. And that's a good indicator that person probably be a good salesperson. Can you develop them? Most certainly you can. So you can take someone fresh out of university and you can mould them into the right type of salesperson. Again, it's all about developing learning cultures as well within a business. So most businesses, they employ salespeople and they expect them to know everything, which is a big flaw on the sales or on the business part. But what you should actually be doing is employing salespeople that know everything, but you want to teach them more. Yeah, so you want to develop that culture of learning. One of the biggest problems in the sales industry at this present moment in time, and it's probably been for the last 10 years, is salespeople are afraid to ask for help. And again, it goes back to mindset as well. So, and a couple of external factors as well. The mindset is that salespeople, if they ask for help, it's a weakness. They're showing a weakness. They're showing their cards to the business. And for a salesperson like an animal, really, if it gets cornered, it's going to lash out and it's going to do all these things and be quite erratic, and the personality is going to change and going to get angry and frustrated and defensive. So for a salesperson to ask for help, it's a really, really big thing. what businesses have got to do, they've actually got to say, okay, and some of them do it with the open door policy, but that's an old thing and people are used to hearing that. They've got to actually get into the business, have a round table discussion. Listen, folks, we don't care if your sales targets aren't good. We don't care whatever. We're not here to discuss, you're getting sacked or anything. We're here to help you develop as people, and we're here to help you develop professionally. What can we do that will help you? That one simple question for a business can maybe change the whole route of a business, the whole direction of a business, So it's about instilling a learning culture. I've been in some businesses, which, thinking back to it now, they bought books for their sales staff, and it was sales books. One was Spin Sell. It was an old one, really, really old one. I'm not fond of Spin Sell, it's quite dated now, but, that particular book, they bought for all the sales staff, and they said, right, read a chapter and then come in and we'll discuss it. And that itself helped them open up a little bit and help. Oh, do you know what? I was speaking with this customer and I read this part in this book and I'm wondering, would that work for my customer? What do you all think? So, in terms of developing salespeople, you can bring people into the business, and you can invest time and money in training. But if you don't do anything off the back of that training, you've wasted your money. So you can deliver the training, but if you don't deliver the training with coaching after that, you've kind of failed the business. You've kind of failed your sales staff, because they're going to take the information, they're going to absorb it, and they're basically going to go off and maybe take a nugget from it and keep doing what they're doing. Whereas if you take the training and then continuously coach them, okay, this is the training, this is what you've been taught, this is the actions, go and do the actions, then come back to me in a week and we'll review these actions. So this is something I'm actually doing for the sales industry. At the minute I have a meetup, it's called the Sales Haven Sales Meetup, kind of like a leaning group. And the first one's on the 7th of February, full house already, which is great, with people from CEOs to telesales to MDs to managers, all types of people from different levels, and that's great. That's a really, really good thing to have. What's going to happen, these guys are going to come in and they're going to have a notepad and we're going to sit and talk a little bit, and then we're going to discuss exactly what the problem is. So, Mr. CEO, what's your problem? Okay, so you've got a problem that your sales staff aren't, they aren't performing. Okay, you're in a company, you're a salesperson, what do you think about that? Interaction that isn't there, and that's a learning culture. So everybody from different levels is learning, and that's kind of been taken from working in different businesses and seeing learning cultures and going, okay, if they're developing learning cultures there, let's develop something outside of that for people just to come to. So that sort of model that I'm running now can be implemented into businesses, and you can have all decision makers. I mean, this is the other thing that is a bit of a gripe with me, is that we still are very departmental in terms of the business.
So as you explained, the departments, and again, it's hard. You're too busy in the business running the business. You don't even stand back and think about it. So that's absolute gold that everyone's in sales. And I guess the second thing is, and one thing I hadn't considered before, is actually we do training, but we don't do the follow up.
Yeah.
So we're missing 100% right. When you say that, it's like, of course, it's like it's the training probably gives you the skills, was the follow up that embeds it, and it's so important.
I think they say it takes 21 days for a habit to be a part of who you are as a person, as an individual. That's another thing. So habits. This is something I've been looking at quite recently for myself. I'm breaking old habits and getting new habits in place. Salespeople are creatures of habit. Okay, so if you look at a salesperson's day, they will usually have a particular process, and they'll do it religiously every single day. The real good ones will have a really good time management system, and the real sort of maybe poor sales staff will have a poor time management system. Granted, I think I can be in the poor time management system sometimes. I think we all are. But if you look at the sales individuals themselves, and their habits and what they're actually doing, not just in work but at home, are they going home and eating healthy? Are they going home and going to the gym? Are they going home, or are they in a tough relationship at the moment? Are they feeling a little bit like their heads are just above water? These are all feelings and habits, and if they're living poorly, and if they have bad habits and they're living a poor lifestyle, their work is going to be impacted. They're going to come into work, and how their life is outside of work, it's going to be the exact same inside work. There's some people use work as a release to get away from the day-to-day things at home. But if they're living a poor lifestyle and they have poor habits and bad habits at home, more than likely they're going to have bad habits in work. So you've got to identify this, okay, does this person not record notes on the CRM system? And get that person to realise in a roundabout way that that's a bad habit and they need to adapt a new habit. One of the ways that you can do that is by tracking. So most people think CRM systems are Big Brother, okay, and they are in a sense, but CRM systems were essentially developed to help the sales process along and to flag up to salespeople, this is when you should call this customer, etc., etc. So if you can identify the bad habits and get the salesperson to make the new habits and get them to ingrain that there into their day-to-day work, they make for better salespeople, Again, I think habits are a sort of byproduct of discipline and focus. So that discipline essentially is how you can manage yourself and how you basically stay the course, So if you have a goal, if you have a structure to the sales process, essentially that's discipline. So putting the structure and the action plan in place, putting the strategy in place and being disciplined enough to follow that strategy, that then becomes a habit. That hopefully becomes a good habit, and then that hopefully gets good performance. So there's lots of different ways that you can help your salespeople be good salespeople. There's lots of different ways that you can help people be good at learning and develop themselves. But it's down to the business to help facilitate that. And it goes back to the point that I made. We employ salespeople and we expect them to know everything.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure.
That's not true.
And back to, I guess, the habits, you have to be really deliberate and really focused even to try and create a habit. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's too easy to fall into, we hear it all the time, the bad habits, back to the old routine.
Yeah.
So, my word, I don't know how many times, and January, the new year, I'm sure everyone is, I wonder how many people have kept their New Year's resolutions. It's a good thing to do.
Do you know the thing that I've been doing recently? So, granted, I have a few habits that I've identified as very poor habits, and I'm trying to break them. Tracking bad habits, and that's why CRM systems are there. So most people think, oh, right, okay, Big Brother's watching me, management's going to come down, have a chat with me here if I don't do this. Essentially, yes, in a roundabout way, but it's actually there to track. And if salespeople get their mindset right and go, well, if I use this system to track what I'm doing, then I can break my bad habits. So, yeah.
Incredible. And again, back to habits, so important in what we do. Like it's the foundation probably of everything we do. So if you've got good ones, you're probably set. But so keeping them, is it mindset that you can enable someone to keep a good habit, to change totally?
Mindset plays a big part. Motivation. So that there's two types of motivation, right? You have emotional motivation and you have material motivation. So, and essentially, the emotional motivation feeds into the material, because you buy a nice tie, you wear a nice suit, you get a nice car. Emotionally, that makes you feel good, okay? But that's a material motivator. I want a nice car. I want this. Then you have your emotional motivators, your family, your life, a bad time in the life where you never want to go back to. You feel like you're insuperior. A couple of things that most people feel. You have emotional motivators that motivate you to get out of bed in the morning. Those are the ones you want to identify, and those are the ones you want to use to break your bad habits. If you can identify your emotional motivators, okay. There's a book, Simon Sinek. I think it's called The Reason Is Finding Your Why.
Very good.
But Simon Sinek, and it's all about, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I get out of bed in the morning? And if you look at that in real depth, for me, why do I get out of bed in the morning? So why do I do what I do? Because I want my son to have the best life that he has ever had. And for me, if I can give him that life, I have achieved my ultimate emotional motivator. And that's generally for most people. For men want to be the breadwinners in the family. Men, and it's a traditional thing. It's a primal thing. Men go out and they provide for their family. Ladies out there are now becoming more and more, and they're allowed to become more and more primal like that, and they're allowed to provide for their families, and they're allowed to go out there and be these fantastic salespeople and business people. So both genders are absolutely 110% have the same motivators now. Whereas men used to, but that stigma still sticks with men. Regardless, they will always want to be the breadwinner. And that's a tough thing for a man to carry. So identifying your emotional motivators can help you break your bad habits, can help you go, right, I need to change this habit. I need to stop this from ruining my life or compounding into something bigger. So for example, eating cheeseburgers every day will compound into a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? Going into work and not making phone calls will compound into you losing your job because you're not performing. So if you find your emotional motivator, use that as your reason for number one, getting out of bed, for number two, going out and making something of yourself. But then number three, actually saying, you know what, I'm better than this. I should be living healthier or doing the better things in life and breaking these bad habits. I touched there on the stigma of men and how they feel and they have to be breadwinners, and ladies as well, they feel the pressure now too. Some men prefer to stay at home and work while the lady goes out and is a breadwinner, which is great. In the sales industry in general, what I have started to see, and I have suffered from this myself, is there's a huge problem with mental health in the sales industry. And this is something that I'm going to be addressing through SalesHaven, is I want to help the sales industry improve the state of mental health in this industry. It's really bad. I was looking into a variety of different research papers and had found a couple online and found that the sales industry, and anybody who has a career in sales, generally has the same state of mental health as those in the medical industry. So these are the top industries that have the highest mental health problems, and sales is in there. So that coupled with what's going on in Northern Ireland at the minute, we have one of the highest suicide rates in the UK, which is absolutely shocking. I only just before I came up here, I'm in town, and I'm not one of these guys to whip my phone out and record all this, but I feel this is quite relevant. I was in town and I seen this guy and he was homeless and he's just sitting there, and I actually thought he was dead, to be honest with you, because it was that cold and he didn't look too good, and I had to go up and tap him. And he came around, I was like, right, he's okay, thank goodness. But it played in my mind, and this is about an hour and a half ago, and something just hit me and I had to go and get this man something warm, something good to eat. And I went down and I just, come on, take this please, I don't want anything, just take it. And he just burst into tears. Absolutely just burst into tears. His mental health was broken. Drugs had gripped him. He turned to drugs to get rid of the pain or whatever it was. I had a conversation with him, and that really hit me. And it's one of my personal emotional motivators why I want to change mental health in the sales industry and potentially in in other industries if possible. But speaking with that guy just reiterates to me even more that mental health is a serious problem in this country and we need to address it. So with SalesHaven, what I would like to intend to do is get into a couple of different businesses and create some sort of sales mental health program where you can deliver mindset training, you can deliver resilience training, you can deliver a whole host of different things that will help salespeople be better, feel better, be able to address their mental health problems if they come up. I've experienced this myself. I've been in sales 10 years. I would say for maybe 2 years of that career I was depressed because of the pressure that I felt, the pressure of delivering a £1 million target, the pressure of delivering business, the pressure, it just builds on top of people and they either implode or explode. Ultimately, yes, I want to give my experience and help people develop their sales skills and show businesses how to develop these cultures within their businesses. But if I can just help the sales industry improve the mental health, especially here in Northern Ireland, I feel I will have been successful. Then when you get your emotional motivators, you latch onto them and you don't let them go and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing because it's essentially a part of your mental health. Don't be afraid to speak out. For me personally, I openly spoke out at the time fortunately for me, and I went and I spoke to someone and I said, listen, I'm in a dark place. I really, really need help here. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. When you're working with Sales Haven, you're not going to be judged. You're not going to be ridiculed. No question is ever too silly. No question is ever too small. You can ask anything, and the support network of the Sales Haven meetup will be there to help you. Or you can come and talk to me directly, and I'll have a chat with you. You know. So yeah, in terms of the mental health thing, I think, you know, and because of the research that I've did and I've found that sales is up there with one of the top industries to have mental health problems, and with what's happening here in Northern Ireland, I would love to try and do something for the salespeople in the sales industry and help. Men, yes, it's quite high. The rates with men are quite high at the minute, but ladies as well. You know, people of all genders, no matter what country you're from, Belfast is a great place at the minute. I really, really, really love this place. It's absolutely fantastic. Culturally, it's become so diverse. It's become this buzz. I had a guy over from London. He was like, "I'm coming back. This is great. I need to come back here." Or I have a couple other people that might come with me. You know, it's just there's such a great diverse country at the minute. With everything else going on that I won't get into, but you know, it's such a diverse place, and I think that with certain people driving it in the right direction from the business industry, we can thrive. We can become leaders in cybersecurity. We can become leaders in the film industry. We can become leaders in the digital industry. We have so much raw talent here, and it's about managing that and getting the country to drive in the right direction. So I'm really proud of where I'm from, and I absolutely love this country. And from where it's been, even 10 years ago, from where it's been, you know, we've got companies out there like Concentrix or like these cybersecurity companies that are bringing people in from different countries to live here. And that's great. You know, that's helping this place to be more diverse. So the more companies we can get here that want to bring people from outside this country to work as well is great. And then the local talent that we have. You know, the universities are spitting out so much financial talent, technology talent. So yeah, as you can see, I'm quite an advocate for Northern Ireland and Belfast. And I think if we just keep going in this trajectory and keep pushing, we'll be leaders in industry again, quite like we were back in the day when the Titanic was about.
Amazing, yeah. So a lot of people wouldn't know. I remember reading this fact that Belfast was bigger than Dublin at one stage back in those years. So incredible to think
Yeah.
what Belfast was in Ireland compared to, well, I guess, missed opportunities. But it is
Yeah.
definitely coming back. And what you're talking about is very important. So as an employer, what
Yeah.
can employers or anyone that's got a team do around mental health and thinking of their sales teams? Then is there things that they should be considering or watching for?
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of teams and businesses, there's lots of things that you can do, okay? You can bring external people in to provide talks, or to, you know, you can pay for a counsellor once a month to come in and have an open door policy in a room, and people can come in and talk. That's a new model, but it's been used in the States. The likes of Google have been doing it for years, you know. So it's nothing new in terms of that. You know, don't be afraid to ask your salespeople. You can usually tell when someone is down. You know, humans have this sense, okay? We're very good at feeling what's an air in a room, or when you're talking to someone, we can pick up on certain things. So use that. You know, don't be afraid to ask someone, is there something wrong? You know, something going on at home? You know, there's mental health training out there. You can't get that from other places, from professionals. I'm by no means a professional, just an experienced person. But there's industries or sectors or companies out there that can provide training for managers. And I have contacts with those people, so if anybody needs those contacts, feel free to get in touch with me.
Amazing, amazing. And regards then back to the fear of selling and everything that's involved in the sales job. Do you think you were talking about prospecting earlier as well?
Yeah.
Do you think people fully understand what prospecting is?
So this is a funny one, and I have this thing where I'll call it procrastinating. Okay, people like to procrastinate.
Yeah.
They don't like to prospect. Okay, so, and listen, I've did it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say
I think we all do it.
we all do it. But it's having, again, goes back to that discipline thing and a habit thing. You know, can you break the habit? Can you have discipline? So in terms of prospecting, do people do it in the correct way? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. There's no particular right or wrong way to do prospecting, but there's an effective way. And it's about having structure. So I'm going to touch on two things here: prospecting and social selling, or should I say phone calls and social selling. Um, Most people are under the impression that social selling is a real thing. In my opinion, it's not. Okay, and the reason being is that, let's say for example, LinkedIn. Okay, one of the most, in my opinion, the most up to date business network in the world. Okay, you can get in touch with anybody at any time, anywhere in the world. LinkedIn is great, but you can't sell on LinkedIn because there's no buy button. So if you put something up and somebody goes to buy something, there's no buy button. So you can't quantify as that as selling, okay? It's marketing. LinkedIn is digital marketing. It's content marketing. You're putting information out there and then you're following up on the likes or you're following up in the comments. That then becomes social selling. Your follow up is selling. Your follow up is asking that customer or asking that their potential lead, you like that content? Are you interested in that kind of stuff? Do you want to go for a meeting? Okay? So social selling and phone calls are two different things. There are people out there that would have you think that social selling is basically the new way of selling, okay, of prospecting. It's not. It's another tool that's in the toolbox, okay? Phone call, a face-to-face interaction will always be around. It will always be the main way for people to sell, will always be the main way for people to prospect. So in terms of prospecting, my general process for myself is I will collect the information on the people that I know. I will conduct prospect research, which is vital. If you're not conducting prospect research, you're basically letting yourself down because you're going into that phone call or you're going into that meeting blind. Okay. I get phone calls, I get cold calls, and I have people calling me, is this such and such from X company, and it's completely the wrong person and completely the wrong company, and straight away they're shut down. Okay, so that's an example of, by not doing your prospect research, that's what's going to happen. Again, that may be for people who are new to the industry or people who have been doing things in a different way. Second of all, phone calls. You can't pick the phone up and you can't just get the information. Um, Gatekeepers can be hard. They can be quite tricky to navigate, to say. But when you're trying to get around a gatekeeper, it's best to be honest. So as a salesperson, when I'm on a phone call, I have three values: honesty, integrity, and persistence. Okay? So whenever I'm speaking to someone, and again, people out there, salespeople out there, can instill these values themselves. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, be honest with a gatekeeper. Yes, Mr. Gatekeeper or Mrs. Gatekeeper, I haven't spoken with your decision maker before, but I have sent an email and I was just wondering, would there be any chance that I could have a chat with them? Your help would be really appreciated. 9 times out of 10, they're going to see that you're an honest guy and you're just trying to do your job, and they'll either give you an email address or they'll put you through. It always works for me. 9 times out of 10, I always get to speak to the decision maker, which is great. Um, the second thing with the integrity part there, with the values, is that you need to obviously have that bit of integrity to understand, okay, you can't push the boundaries with these people, but having that little bit of integrity and go, okay, I understand you're busy, or I understand that when you say no, you maybe just don't mean right now. Yeah. So there's lots of different ways that I look at it. But personally for me, when I'm doing a phone call, honesty, integrity, and persistence are key to my phone call. And there's another statistic that I'd seen out there. It takes something like eight phone calls before you actually get to speak to your decision maker. So salespeople out there will usually have a 3-strike rule, I find. They're usually on the third strike, right? Bottom of the list. Who's next? Okay. Realistically, you want to be hitting that customer at least 8 times. Phoning that customer. I have this thing I call omnipresence, and I actually took it from a book by a guy called Grant Cardone, 10 Times Success. Absolutely fantastic book. Grant Cardone, great guy. He's a really good sales personality, sales trainer. He's not my type of style, to be honest, but that book, 10 Times Success, was absolutely fantastic. And there's a chapter in it called Omnipresence. And this is how he's become so successful. He has literally been everywhere. He has been in front of his customer online, in front of his customer at events, in front of his customer in the post, in front of his customer on phone, email. He is everywhere. So when a customer thinks of sales, the first person that they're going to think about is obviously him. So by prospecting and picking the phone up and calling the customer, that's great. You can get through the gatekeeper and you can do all the little things that you can do. But if you're also liaising with your marketing team and saying, okay, this is the type of customer I want to approach, this is a customer base that I have, this is the type of information that I want pushed out to them, that's omnipresence. For me, I've pushed prospecting to the limit sometimes where I haven't been able to see the customer, okay? Or I haven't been able to make contact with the customer by phone. The emails haven't worked. The letters maybe haven't worked. So what I've actually did is I've went to an event and I've seen them at an event. And I've straight up to them, I says, listen, I appreciate you're busy. I knew you were going to be speaking at this event. It's probably the only time I could get a chance with you. Can we have a conversation? You know? So that probably gives you a little bit of insight into the mindset that I have as a salesperson as well. You know, I do anything to get in front of the customer. Again, prospecting can be basically overcome by fear. Okay, people will be afraid to prospect and will be afraid to pick the phone up. Will be afraid to go and have the audacity to go on an event.
So what tips would you give to any business owners, big, small, around sales, if there was a couple of things they had to think of, or maybe even to get them to go away this evening and think about their own business, if they're either doing it or not doing it?
Yeah, so in terms of the business world, most businesses, and rightly so, will look at the numbers, okay? They're going to look at the numbers and they're going to say, okay, we're down in profits, we're up in profits, this guy's not performing, this guy's not performing. So the key thing to remember as a business owner is that yes, you've employed that person to do a job. That person's employed to perform, which is great. But remember, that person is a human being, and that person may have things going on. That person may not be as upskilled as what they've told you. Okay, salespeople when they're in an interview sell themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. He's obviously sold himself that well, or she has sold themselves that well, that they've got into your business. But remember that they may need more training. So the first thing is, remember that you're human. Remember that they may need more training. They may need more coaching after the training. So if you're bringing anybody into your business to deliver training, don't think that it's going to be a quick fix. Don't think that they're going to come in and all of a sudden your sales staff are going to start selling. Okay, that is a common misconception, and sometimes the business is just doing that for a tick. So in terms of bringing people into the business to train your staff, make sure they're coming in to train them about relevant things in your business, not just a broad stroke. Okay, what's the problem in your business? A good salesperson, a good sales trainer will come and sit down with you and say, what's your problems? What do you need me to do? And what can I improve on? So understand what that particular salesperson or sales trainer has to offer, and is it going to help your business? Don't go through a tick box exercise. The other thing for business owners that I would say that would be important is be aware of the tools that your sales staff have and how that might impact their job. So in a couple of different industries that I've been in personally, the reason why a CRM system is built is to reduce time, is to improve reporting, and to improve the sales process. So if you're implementing a CRM system for the sales team, be aware of how that CRM system works from the top to the bottom. There's no point in the manager just knowing how things work and the management team not having a clue, because you're just wasting money and trying to improve your processes in the business. So understand that your salespeople are there to sell, they're not there to report. Understand that you need to provide them with the tools to do their job. So that includes marketing, that includes a phone, a car, that includes paper, that includes business cards, a name tag, whatever that may be, and make sure it's good quality. There's times where you work for different businesses and they maybe give you a very, very poor quality thing and it breaks, or you may be going to the event or whatever it may be, and you're stuck there and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do now? And you have to improvise. Don't let your business be that business. You get what you pay for sometimes. there are good CRM systems out there that I've used. There's a guy that I know in England who has a really great one as well. There's another company in England called 5CRM. There's the other guy's Web CRM. There's lots of different things out there, but the core thing is let your salespeople be salespeople. Yeah, don't burden them with other things. Don't burden them with jobs that they don't need to be doing. Don't burden them with reports. If you can reduce that and allow them to sell, your business is going to perform better.
Excellent, amazing.
So,
And I have to say here that, again, golden advice around training, because as companies owners would think, okay, we're doing training, tick.
Yeah.
Brilliant, we're doing training. That's us done, but you do actually have to sit back and really identify what you need,
yeah,
and find the right training
100%.
to solve your problems. So again, brilliant advice. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for that. If anyone watching this has a sales team or a sales problem or challenge, and they would like an independent or outside
Yeah.
fresh pair of eyes to come in and have a look, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
So you can catch me on www.saleshaven.co.uk. All the contact forms are there. That's the best way to get me at any stage. From there, I will basically have a conversation with you. First of all, understand your requirements as a business. Understand, okay, what do you think the pain is? There's a particular process that you can use to identify what the actual pain is. What do you think the pain is normally not the pain. So identifying that pain and then trying to figure out, okay, do I have access to resources that can help you with that pain? So we'll go through that process first, then we'll implement the plan, then we'll implement the training or whatever it may be, the consultant, whatever it may be, and then we'll set action points. And I am your accountability partner. I am here to make sure you're doing what you've said you're going to do. So if you need to reach out to me, that's the best way to reach out to me.
Amazing, thank you very much,
No
Kenny. That
problem.
was brilliant. So I've learned a lot today, so I'm going to have a
Great.
busy weekend, I think.
Great.
Hit your site. So thank you again for your time.
Cool, thank you.
Brilliant. And thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a lot about sales, processing, cold calling, prospecting, oh my word, and everything else in between. So be sure to check out the links below this video and visit Kenny at Sales Haven, and hopefully enjoy the video. As I say, this is Kieran from Profile 3, content marketing agency here in the Springfield Road in Belfast. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you again.